Good evening, Nancy. I just finished my last course. It's 10, no, it's not 10, it's 8:20 p.m. And this is a summary of the first part of lesson 2. So what's going on here? We already saw that, repetition after a while. This is the only way to really remember something, So memorize something. So to pull, it's a verb. An all-nighter. I want to hear the nighter, not all night, no, all-nighter. Stay awake all night to study. I can't believe the test is next week. There's so much to study. I know, maybe we should start studying together right now. I don't want to pull an all-nighter again the night before the test. Bad idea, because you're not going to be in good shape the next day. So you're not going to do well. The last time I did that, I was very tired and I got a terrible grade. Similar expressions: burn the midnight oil, stay up very late working or studying, but it's not really used anymore. This is an old-fashioned expression that is not very common today, but you may hear it from old American guys. It comes from the time when people used all lamps for light. It does not necessarily mean that someone will stay awake all night. Cram for a test: to push a lot of information into your mind at one time, study at the last minute. So you try to cram a lot of stuff inside a drawer, but it's not going to work. The same with studies. So think of cramming something into a full drawer. To cram is to try to push something into a container, such as your brain, that is already quite full. I'm sorry, I can't talk to you right now. I have to go cram for my history midterm. Have you started studying for it yet? I crammed all night, and after the test, I forgot everything. Stay up. No matter what, if you work, you study, or just watch a lot of TV. Or you read a lot. Not go to bed for any reason, not just to study. On New Year's Eve, they stayed up all night. They didn't go to bed. On New Year's Eve, they stayed up late. They went to bed late. You can stay up late to study, or you can stay up late and study. Have you ever pulled an all-nighter? Yes, definitely. And I started in middle school. I was sleeping 4 hours per night, especially the month or 2 months before exams. Yeah, that was a bit competitive. High school, definitely. And yeah, university, definitely, absolutely. Study in advance, yeah, but it depends what you study, because if you're in law school, you have to cram information all the time. So even though you have a technique, you don't have time to take notes and copy and write everything on a clean sheet of paper. It doesn't work like that, okay? So you're gonna have to study all the time. And you don't have time, you don't have the time, this luxury to write everything slowly and write beautiful letters. It doesn't work like that. So it depends what you study. Medical school is also you cram a lot of information. Even though you start everything in advance, you have a lot of stuff to learn. You need to stay up late to study. What do you do to stay awake? Coffee, even though it doesn't work. Because the coffee works in the morning, but not all day long. After a certain hour, the coffee can also, you can fall asleep. But I would say coffee, tea, well, now I'm tired, so you can tell. Coffee, tea, or I eat some protein. I know that people do other things, but I'm natural. So just in the nick of time, just in time, at the last possible moment, very, very last moment, last minute, last second. When people do something in the nick of time, they feel relieved because they don't miss what they want or need to do. This expression is usually used with past tense verbs. We got there just in the nick of time. The movie had just started. You got here in the nick of time. We almost left without you. He paid his parking ticket in the nick of time. So we got to the airport in the nick of time, so we didn't miss our flight. We got out of the house in the nick of time, right before the fire reached their house. The car turned in the nick of time, so luckily there wasn't an accident. The taxi arrived at the airport, at the hospital in the nick of time, so she didn't have her baby in the back seat, or she didn't give birth in the back seat. And she, chicken out of the oven, she took the chicken out of the oven in the nick of time, so luckily it didn't burn. To be in hot water, to be in trouble, to be in hot water with someone, to be in trouble. What's wrong with her today? She looks so unhappy. She's in hot water with her teacher because she cheated on her test. Okay? My mind went totally blank and hand in and turn in. We're gonna review that. Okay? So when your mind is going blank, that means you don't remember anything. A blank is an empty space. If your mind goes blank, your mind suddenly and temporarily feels empty. At first, when I looked at the test, my mind went blank. I couldn't remember anything. So to calm down, I closed my eyes for a minute or two. Then everything came back to me. I think I got an A. To hand in or turn in something, to submit, to give work to a teacher. To hand it is with your hands, okay? You hand it to your teacher. When you submit work in person, face-to-face, you hand it in or turn it in. But when you submit your work by mail or email, you turn it in. Use hand in only if you are giving the work directly to someone. I'm so busy, I don't know what to do first. What do you have to do? I have to turn in 2 papers by next Tuesday. I know how you feel. I just handed 2 in last week. So hand in and turn in are verbs with 2 parts. They are phrasal verbs. When you use a noun, 2 papers, so you can say turn 2 papers in or turn in 2 papers. So we can say that. We can have the noun before, in between, or after. They handed in their test, or they handed their test in, or they handed them them in. Okay. 18 as well, 18 or them, whatever we talk about. The same for turned in their test, or they turned their test in. When you have a pronoun, it's always in between. They handed them in, they turned it in. Okay. So we're gonna have to work a bit on that. We have an exercise, okay, and after we can talk about get an A, a B, a C, a D, whatever, an E on a test. Okay. To take the test called, etc., etc. Okay, I'm gonna try to work on that tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow at 9:05, just so you know. And you have an excellent evening, Nancy. And I try to keep it very short for you to not have to fall asleep listening to my voice. Take care, Nancy. I'll talk to you soon.